So good evening and welcome back. The race stream for the Evo Cup Round 7, brought to you by the Right House Drivers Club. Back on, and as a result, engines being restarted and drivers heading round to the grid. Sorry about the interruption due to a lack of signal, but I can see from here that Darrell Taylor was just behind that white barrier on the just by the Right House sign. He's in pole position. It looks as though Sienna Gordon is in 4th. We're awaiting 3rd place. Looks as though Connor Steele is making a beeline. It is. It stops nicely in the box. Just gets reset by the marshal, so he's in the right place. So a good qualifying result for Connor in conditions that he does favour. So the marshal is clear. We'll be starting the race any second now. The red lights come on, revs go up, and away they go. So a good start for Daniel Fields, looking around the outside into stadium. He's got the grip and he's pulling ahead. Darrell Taylor suffering slightly on the slippery inside line, but still managing to hold on to second. Sienna Gordon 3rd. Connor Steele in 4th, and a contact warning on the opening lap, a contact warning for kart number 12. So 11 leading from 1, that is Daniel Fields from Darrell Taylor. They come past the building for the first time. Sienna Gordon just getting past Connor Steele into pylon 1, nobody making a mistake thus far. Excellent driving all round in very difficult conditions. So Sienna will receive that contact warning this time round. All drivers still sticking to that wet line. Oh, except number 4, the Rohan, who was, I think, trying to go more defensive. Didn't quite work for him, and he got a lot of understeer. The number 6 behind him, that is Jack Hancock. Oh, and I think that is Jack Hancock that's just spun. It was Jack Hancock just spinning out. He may get a warning for turning in front of traffic as well. You can understand his eagerness to get back underway. You have to make sure you do it in a safe manner. The red race suit there of Cody Steele. And Daniel Fields has a spin. Daniel Fields spins out completely on his own accord. Oh, and turns in front and spins karts facing the wrong way. They're all at hairpin 1, and unfortunately the signal broke out. So that's drastically changed the order. So that's still Darrell Taylor leading. Now Sienna Gordon 2nd. In 3rd place, Connor Steele. 4th place is Knife Ford. Oh, and 5th just is Daniel Fields, having just about managed to get past Cody Steele in the red race suit there, who's currently 6th. So Darrell Taylor's starting to open up a bit of a lead now for 11. the battle for second and third at the moment. Sienna Gordon leading that one, second place. Contact warning for 11 must have just not been taken yet. She's about to take it now. There's Daryl Taylor with a well-executed little drift out of hairpin 1. Using plenty of curve at the S's, as does Sienna Gordon and Cody Steele, which is a good sign. That means the circuit's drying up and they're able to get over to that correct side. The contact warning for car number 9 is issued on the digital board. Number 9, that is Cody Steele. I didn't see what's prompted that, but I'm watching that battle for second place at the minute. However, I think we'll hold on at hairpin 1 and pick up the battle for fourth place, which at the moment is Nye Ford and Daniel Fields. Daniel trying that inside line is not quite worked for him this time. He'll have to switch back onto the wet line and does for hairpin 2. Nye Ford, oh, and Nye with a big slide coming out. I think he was too busy looking behind him, not focusing on what he was coming up to. Very, very basic error. Oh, and I think he does it again. Just oversteer, caught losing the speed because of the oversteer, and Daniel Fields gets past. So Daniel Fields up to fourth after dropping down the order for that spin. The contact warning out to kart number 8. That is Yash Palmer. Daniel Fields now, you would have to say, more at the end of the table where he is used to, a successful driver. He'll be trying to hunt down this man here, Connor Steele. To have a spin at pylon 2, which looks like Enzo. Sienna starting to open that gap up slightly. But she's hardly running away with it. These conditions challenging for any of the drivers, especially in these more powerful karts. And I'm not quite sure number that is, but that was very, very wide out of pylon 2. He was more or less on the grass. That won't help at all, that. I'll try and get that number and we'll try and point him in the right direction. Is the number 8 of Yash Palmer, number 7 ahead of him. Norbert, just with a nice slide, and it was in fact Norbert that spun out of pylon 2 a couple of laps ago. Apologies to Enzo. Really hitting that curve hard on the inside of pylon 2. It's not advisable in any weather, really. It will slow you down. It will also unsettle the car. The floodlights are now on. just as the clouds start to roll in. So Daniel Fields, really hitting that curve very, very hard. Has seemingly lost out to Knife Ford. I didn't see why. He is back behind Knight. And that looks as though it's Enzo off the circuit, a hairpin one, rejoining. May well get a warning for that, but I think I would probably do the same in that situation. If you can get back on, then you should. It's going to save you the time in the race. Cautiously scooting around the outside of the curb there. He could easily use more than that. Enzo, one of the taller drivers in the junior championships. It's a slight hindrance, but it makes the best of it and he enjoys it, and that is the main thing. And then there we go. There is a warning for 10. And that will be for Enzo, and that will be for the on-off grass. We just pick up on a steal with number 5. I'm not sure what was going on there, but Sienna Gordon trying to push. I couldn't quite see who it was. I think it was Yash. Trying to push Yash down the straight. She isn't on. I think the marshals will be keeping a very close eye on that. Contact on the straight, especially side-to-side contact, is never allowed, never justified. Especially continuous contact. That was the number 8 of Yash Palmer that was having the small scuffle with Sienna Gordon last time round. And he just about gets past the number 6. They both really hit that curve hard and both spin out, causing yellow flags down pylon 1. But Sienna gets through unscathed, a nice little slide through the S's, running very wide indeed out of pylon 2, but it seems to work for her. Contact warning for number 8, so that's Yash Palmer. The other driver involved was Norbert. So the race lead at the moment still Darrell Taylor, second place still Sienna Gordon, and third place still Connor Steele. Bit of a gap between them now. I can't quite work out who at the moment is in fourth place, but I would assume it's the number 11 of Daniel Fields. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be back at that end. I know he was 4th or 5th and he was ahead of Nye. Nye is now just behind him. I'd assume that they have swapped positions. There is Darrell Taylor, the race leader, having a quick look over his shoulder before he swings into pylon. We'll see how Darrell deals with the back markers. Plenty of curb. The S's sets him up right. might get down the back straight, but doesn't quite get the legs this time, or does he? He's pulling alongside into stadium. Oh, and back. Just much better of it as he comes through stadium. And that's ambitious, I think. Darrell trying to go around the outside there, but can he get him up the inside? Oh, not quite. A small amount of contact was an unforced error, nothing neither driver could really do about that. But Darrell back in the same situation he was in at the beginning of last lap. And Darrell is now passed up the inside into S's. An interesting move, not a move you see very often, but was very effective this time, using that curb for the extra traction in the wets. Oh, and number 7 there. That's Norbert managing to make the dry line work, so that is a sign that the circuit's drying slowly but surely, and there is a dry line forming in the middle of the circuit. I don't know if you can quite see that. Number 10 just behind him, Enzo. Darrell Taylor passing Enzo now. Not for position, of course, so Enzo not fighting that one. So allowing the race leaders to come through. Right, now, as I look down my list, trying to determine which drivers I haven't quite mentioned very thoroughly yet. And I think that's more or less everybody. So let's have a look. Where are the close battles on the circuit? At the moment, to be fair, a lot of these drivers are quite spaced out. We've got Darrell Taylor passing back markers. And other than that, no real overtaking to report. Each driver running their own race. As we approach, I would say probably the 15-minute mark, there's still a long way to go. So as we follow Cody Steele through stadium, he is managing to get onto that inside line, but it looked quite slow. I'm not quite sure the circuit's ready for that yet. Darrell Taylor just getting up the inside of him into hairpin. So I think it's still wet enough for that wet line, unless your name is Norbert, who is, oh, and as I say that, the curse of the commentator strikes and he has a spin. But up until that point, I've been mastering the wet line, dry line, sorry, in these conditions. They can definitely give you an edge, especially through some of the hairpins. Sienna Gordon goes very wide in pylon 1. I don't know if that was understeer or just a mistake. It was actually up on the gravel around the outside. Much needed through pylon 2. So here was that having a small spin. That looks to me like Rohan Talwar. Those red gloves. So I think we will keep an eye now on Daniel Fields, even as he carves his way up through some back markers. Tries that inside line. Actually does manage to make that work this time. Hooks it over the curb. It drags the cart through the corner. You can't do that a hairpin too though. And there's a definite dry line forming. Not necessarily where the drivers want it though. This is the issue, of course, that the dry line will form where the wet line was. And then there won't be that much grip anywhere. Over my shoulder I see Connor Steele trying to pass Rohan. Let's follow that for a little while. It's probably one of the closer battles on circuit at the moment. Rohan, of course, is being lapped in this situation, but without the blue flags he will not be required to move over unless he sees fit. Does, oh, and that's a nice, very nice move from Connor Steele around the outside at Stadium. A move that is nigh on impossible in the dry, but in these wet conditions, very possible indeed. He has a quick look over his shoulder just to see if he's got that move done and dusted, and I think he has. A superb piece of overtaking as the light is slowly fading now. Got a big group here. Let's follow this group of three as they jostle. I think that is Enzo in the middle of that group of three. The blue suits. I have to say, I think that's Jan Hancock at the front of that group, and he's just driven away down the straight. Ford as well, just ahead of Enzo. Now I have just felt a few spots of rain, so this race is going to get very interesting very quickly as the small amount of dryness on the circuit gets significantly wetter if this rain carries on. There's only a few spots at the moment, But if any of you were watching earlier this week, you will have seen what a few spots can turn into and how quickly it can turn into it. On Monday, where we had to call the race early because of the weather conditions affecting the karts. As we see Cody Steele at number 9. You see red versus blue down the straight. That is Norbert just behind him. Cody getting the legs down the straight, holding that on through Stadium by the looks of it. Oh, and a bit of a spin, unforced error. Or who is that? What car number is that? That is number 8. So that's Yash, just having a little bit of a spin. It has actually now, there is no more rain. It has stopped. So it was only a few spots. I'm looking up and there is a gap in the cloud above us, so hopefully we'll be fine. So a lot more drivers managing to get onto that inside line at the hairpin, at the first hairpin now. A lot of them still. I apologise about the break-up in signal. I don't use any special kit for this, so if the Wi-Fi gets busy, which it does in these championships, it can occasionally drop out. Let's have a look at this group of 4 into 4, and that's very tight. And would have been Connor overtaking Cody. Oh, and I think that is Daniel Fields defending very heavily indeed. Oh, and Connor still just getting ahead of Norbert into pylon 1. Daniel Fields needs to keep a very close eye, and there's a contact warning out to car number 7, so that is Norbert. So as it stands at the moment, it's Daryl Taylor leading, Sienna Gordon second, and I think we may have just seen a change in position for third. So Daniel Fields currently third. Although not if Cody Steele's got any, Connor Steele, sorry, has got anything to do about it, and he's got it at the inside. That's a fantastic move. As Daniel Fields just slides wide. It's an excellent overtake, a very good opportunity from Blue Steel. But this section is where Daniel comes good. And if he can get the speed down the straight, then he might be able to get past Connor into Stadium. Now this is for position. Daniel goes up the inside. I don't know what the grip's like out there though. Oh, and Connor tries the undercut and I think manages it. Daniel not giving up, has got the inside line. Oh, and squeezes wide. I don't know if there was any contact there. That was very difficult racing. Really going hammer and tongs at each other now, wheel to wheel, as they come past the building again. A queue of cars lining up behind them, but I think they're all back markers. Apart from maybe Jack Hancock. Oh, and Connor just getting past, but runs wide coming out of pylon 1. Daniel just getting past him into the S's is going to surely get him down the straight now, I think. And does. But there's a contact warning out for 5 and for 11, so that is Connor and Daniel. I have to say, Connor is mightily fast through that first hairpin and does it again, gets up the inside. Superb driving. That was from a long way back as well, and that's, well, they're coming into Daniel's strong point now of pylon 1 and the S's. Daniel is, I'm not sure what Connor did there, but he ran very wide and he's frustrated with himself. You can see the frustration. He punches the steering wheel. He's got some work to do now, but Jack Hancock's got past Daniel Fields. I'm not sure if that is for position or not. But that would be for third, if it is. Daniel just getting past into stadium, and this is very, very tight. So Hancock gets up the inside again. Daniel Fields persistently needs to adjust his line there and drive slightly differently, because this man is going to get him next time. If he's not careful, he'll get him at hairpin 1. It's noticeably faster. I think Connor is just trying to use too much of the dry line through pylon 1. But if he can stick with him like he is at the moment, then he's going to get him through the hairpins. And Daniel Fields goes up the inside again of Jack Hancock. Manages to make it stick this time. But Connor is all over the rear bumper now, and he gets a good exit out of elbow. Goes to the inside, gets past 1. Can he get past 2? He's got past both. We've got a yellow flag at stadium. Well, that doesn't matter. Oh, and Connor signalling to Jack Hancock, let's go and get him. They both want to try and get past Daniel Fields as much as each other, and I think if they work together, they can both get him at hairpin 1. Connor gets bumped. Definite contact from Daniel Fields. Definite contact. Not sure if you could say it was deliberate or not, but I would have said if it's not, then his awareness needs to be worked on. But they're going to get the run on him now. All Daniel has to do is get this corner right, and he doesn't again, and Connor Steele gets up the inside. Jack Hancock gets up the inside into the second hairpin, and they've both got him. Oh, and Daniel Fields, so the rookie error has gone across the bricks, and he's causing masses of contacts. I don't know how he can get away with that. He will have lost a lap on the Supersport computer by running over the bricks. There's a contact warning out for 11 and 6, which is Jack Hancock and Daniel Fields. Daniel Fields, presumably that will be his final warning. He has now had 3 for contacts. And he just needs to calm it down. He's a very, very good driver. He just needs to remember the contacts. And if he carries on like he is, then he's just going to get more and more warnings and then get a penalty. And nobody wants that. Jack Hancock trying that up the inside again. Oh, and that has got to be a black flag now, I would have thought, for Daniel Fields. That was deliberate contact, pushing Connor Steele into the wall, that pit wall. And if the marshals don't act on that, then that is absolutely ridiculous. Speaking as a marshal, I would not want that driver on the circuit. And I can see the senior marshal preparing to try and capture Daniel Fields, but it's a shame really. All of his hard work coming back from that spin on the opening laps to a podium position is now going to go out the window. Connor going to get past him again, and nearly does. A small amount of contact, but still on that wet line. But Jack Hancock just ahead of Daniel Fields now. I'm trying to see whereabouts Daryl Taylor now in the back of this group. Just to add to complications. You can't quite see, I think Sienna Gordon is in the back of that group as well. So basically all of our drivers, whether they're on the lead lap or not, are in this middle group. Daniel Fields, I have to say, should be receiving a penalty. In my eyes, I would say that was a stonewall penalty. Unfortunately, I'm not in contact, but there is a come-in board for Kart 11. So Kart 11 has been showed the come-in. He may have just missed it as it went up on the board. However, he'll be given the benefit of the doubt. If he doesn't come in this time, he will have to come in next lap, and he'll be given a 30-second penalty. And he has seen it, he has come in, and unfortunately this is going to be a massive setback in his championship efforts as well as his race efforts of tonight. Driven very well up until those last few laps where the red mist has ascended. A couple of moves that haven't quite gone his way, and some silly decisions in terms of contact and overtaking that are potentially going to cost him this race. If we have a look further up the field, we have Naya Ford. That is releasing of Daniel Fields just in front of Naya Ford, who's going to get past, and so is Jack Hancock. Oh, and Jack Hancock squeezed already straight away. Daniel Fields squeezing drivers onto the curb again. And give him the benefit of the doubt that time. The Jack was coming up very quick. He may not have seen him, but as a driver rejoining from the bricks, you have to sort of use some common sense and give space to faster drivers when you're not up to speed. Oh, and I think that is, yeah, Jack Hancock just trying to get past Daniel Fields, who is now a lap down. As the light's fading, I know the picture is not excellent, but I will do my best to keep you updated. We're on the final lap now. Whereabouts is Daryl Taylor? Daryl Taylor exiting stadium at the back of this group. Jack Hancock gets up the inside of Daniel Fields again. Daryl Taylor going up the inside of him there as well. Leaving space, not leaving space. And Daryl Taylor giving Daniel Fields a taste of his own medicine, but he might get a penalty for that as well. These drivers normally absolutely fine. Oh, what's got into them tonight? So Daryl Taylor going to take the checkered flag to win round 7 of the Evo Cup. Second place will be Sienna Gordon. Third place, I'm afraid, I'm not 100% sure. It's either going to be Connor Steele, Jack Hancock, or Nye Ford. But I honestly cannot tell you at this stage who actually took the flag in third place. The driver's coming to a stop. Now I wouldn't be surprised if Darryl Taylor gets reprimanded for that move on the final lap. He obviously can't be stopped now, but we can issue penalties afterwards if we deem necessary. And in the interests of the fairness, I think we may have to issue that penalty. Connor's still visibly annoyed by Daniel Fields' attempts. All the drivers now stationary, all the engines off, so we'll stop the stream there. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you hopefully Saturday evening for the championship test session. If you're not booked in, there is still spaces, so make sure you ring the office tomorrow, speak to John, get yourself booked in, and we'll see you Saturday evening. If not, we'll see you next week for more championship racing.